Boxes to builds, it's becoming a thing. Got another new set, let's see where these are going. Welcome back to the mcgolfshop. Jim McCleary, most awarded certified club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club repairs, club reviews, club fittings. And if you would, like, subscribe, swing and hit that bell, and that way you get more of these videos when they drop. So where are we going? We're going out west. We're going to Idaho. Yeah, that's a new one for me too. And we have a set from Ken. He sent us a set of Ping i210s. Now, I've looked at these things. These are actually quite nice. All right, well, so what is a Ping 210? Well, Ping 210 is a, what do you call a player's cavity back, but it's got a lot of weight on the bottom. All right, you see that right there? All right, and inside here, in order to give this a softer feel, you put a elastomer in there. It's a cavity, so it's already going to be, softer, but you put that in there and it kind of, it mutes the feel a little bit. Now, is that a bad thing? No, because you could have, it could be very, very harsh and it can make it feel very, very good, right? To kind of give you an idea of the change, like I've done in other ones. So here we go. This is a wedge, and this is an 8-iron if you can't tell. All right, you see how the difference in the widths of the sole, right? Difference in the width of the sole. And then if you had to look at the shape, all right, let me try and hold them both together. If you can you tell the difference in shape? Let's try it this way. All right, wedge is underneath. Nope, sorry, 8-irons underneath, wedges on top. See if it looks any different that way to you. So the 8-iron looks a little smaller, right? And that's one of the attributes of this club. If you go to the Ping website, they tell you the grooves are tighter, the head's a little bit smaller. And if you get really, really close, I don't think you'll be able to see it. Grooves are pretty tight, but in between the grooves there's a bit of a roughness that I approve of. It appears to be either part of the casting or they may have milled the grooves in there, and it gets in there and it makes it rougher. Listen. Alright? Can't hear it there, but here. Hear that? And that's my nails going across this part. So it's a little bit rougher, so it's supposed to grab the ball. Now the other part is, there we go. You see that part? They've eliminated some of the back, so it's not this big fatty that you got to get down into. It's a nice, probably about from here to here is the actual turf interaction, and if you're a scooper, that back end doesn't get into the way. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now in the rebuild, so what did we do? We had some stock Ping AWTs from Nippon. That's ascending weight technology. And we're going to put in some Recoil FTZ9s. Really don't care about what we're taking out. We want to put what we're putting in. All right, ZT9s. The question really is, why does somebody go from steel to graphite? Steel to graphite. The first reason is typically weight. Right? The steel starts or ends at about 90 grams, right? 90 grams, and it goes up, and they've pretty much held that bracket forever, right? 120 to 130 was always really their house. That's where they always lived, the steel shafts. And in comes graphite, and graphite was very, very light, typically in that 60 gram category, but now they can go as low as 40, and they can go all the way up into the hundreds. But they ended up there. But there was always that spot in between, that 80 to 110 spot, right? 80 to 110 spot, which is truly the, for most average golfers is kind of the sweet spot, right? That 105, 110, and then that 90, and then that 70, 80, okay? Steel got to 91st, right? They basically got to 91st, and they did pretty good with it. However, when you get to 90, what happens is the butt sizes get bigger, the butts tend to get softer, and it's all about getting the ball airborne. So it's a profile thing for them, and it gets it up in the air. Where in graphite, what happens is when it starts getting up, the profiles start becoming, or can become, we'll say, more player-like, right? Where the butt can be a little bit stiffer, and you know, you can get a fairly boring trajectory out of them. Because why? Well, you're starting to add weight as opposed to taking it out of the standard, right, of the flagship standard. So back into the build, what are we leaving? So best guess on AWT, because it's, you know, ascending weight technology, meaning that's going to get heavier as it goes down. I picked something in the middle. I got right around 100 gram. Again, not a bad shaft, particularly if Nippon's making it. But Ken is looking for something a little lighter, and these guys are in their sweet spot. The ZT9, I haven't looked up the actual spec, but I just weighed one, and it's in that 68 to 70 category. So these, I imagine what these are going to spec out at, and once you cut them down and whatnot, it'll be in that 65. So now, that was one thing, right? The weight. What does weight do? Well, you know, the easy answer is, well, it makes you swing faster. Right? Yeah, it does, but is it going to be like this noticeable, oh my God, is it going to go, it's 10 yards further kind of stuff? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. It's not to say that it won't, because as soon as I say it, there's going to be a golfer out there that says, yeah, I got 10 yards by going to graphite. Okay, right? We golfers are a unique bunch, right? As soon as you say you can't do something, there's somebody out there that can. However, what's one of, you know, the big benefit, right? So you've gone to lighter. What does lighter do? Well, if you're a smoother transition guy, smoother, not the like, you know, like Nick Price, right? Great golfer, but the dude's aggressive. I call him Zorro with a golf club, because his swing is just so fast and so quick, and I won't say violent, but it's aggressive, right? Well, he's probably not a guy that would like something that is very light, because when you get back into this spot, you lose location of the club. Well, if you're a slower guy and you go to bring it back and you set, all of a sudden you can find it, and then you can make that transition down, and you can do that, all right? Slower swing speeds for sure would probably like this for that, you know, 1 to 2 mile an hour pickup for them, because distance is something that's a premium for them. Guys that are faster, maybe not so much. My biggest thing with this is it's a tremendous shock absorber, all right? A shock absorber. For those guys that may not hit it in the center every time, all of us, you know, what it does, it reduces the vibration that gets into the hands, gets into the wrists, gets into the elbows, gets into the shoulders, and gets into the back of the jaw, right? Especially for those club designs that are not nearly as forgiving. Go out and hit a blade. Just go pick up a steel shafted blade and go hit 10 of them and see if it just doesn't rattle your eye teeth, right? This would take away a lot of that stuff. So guys that have arthritis, guys that have sensitive touch, guys that might have a golfer's elbow, a guy that just may have gone through rotator cuff surgery and is kind of sensitive to that kind of stuff, this might be where you want to go. Now, I'm not saying this shaft by itself, but graphite, the way graphite is made. Now, Recoil is an excellent iron shaft. I've used untold numbers of these, and they have done well. When they first came out, with the way that they made these things, it took people by storm. Now, why to do that? Well, number one, if you look at it, it looks chrome, and it's an ion-plated shaft. That ion-plated shaft gave it a look of steel, and it really fooled some folks. And fitters like me would take them and hand it to them, go, here, hit this and see what you think. And they go, wow, this is really great. Now, mind you, the very first thing they said is, oh, I can't hit graphite. Graphite's not for me. And you put this in their club, and they look down and say, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, give it a shot. Whoosh, out it goes. And the guy's like, wow, I'm really sold on that. Great, it's a graphite shaft. Now are you really sold on it? Right? And so proof is in the pudding. And these guys have done that in spades. All right, they started out, and there are multiple models, and this is where, if you can see it, this is a 460 model in the new ZT9, and they've started, they had 200 series, they have 300 series, 800 series, 400 series, they have all these different series, all right? And in the Tour series, the Tour Spec series, which is for the true custom fitters like what I do, there's the 800 series. The 800 series has a little bit more here, a little bit more here, and a little friendlier here, the torque, so that we can dial in the things that we want to dial in for you. They, you know, they're slightly higher than the standard one, but that's because of the, you know, the attention that we give it. Now the way that they build these things, very nice. The way that they layer it in there, I think it works out very, very well. So there's my love I give to UST. UST, you better like that part. So what we're going to do is, these are parallel tip shafts. Typically, ping is not. So you guys saw me do this in the last couple videos. I've got this. Now, if you guys are building and you got something like this, I don't believe that this is made anymore. They have one that looks like a nut, right? And it's actually kind of nice. Golf Mechanics has one. GolfWorks has one. I would go to either one of those places. I'll put a link in the show notes below where you guys can find it. All right, so as we know, this is the taper tip one. It's got a little bit of movement and it's not very tight. So let's see about this one. Now that went in about 3/4 of the way, I'll say. But that may mean that there's a bit of a taper. So what can we do here? Well, what we'll do is, what it means is that we're probably going to have to round the edge a little bit to get it in, and because of, you see how there's quite a bit of graphite there, we should be able to get it. Now I'm not talking about coning a bunch, I'm just talking about sanding a little bit off. And also we got to take off the ion plating so we can get down to the graphite so the glue will stick. All right, so we're going to go to, and you've seen these in other videos, so I've talked more about the head and the shaft in this one. That's really what I want to get across, the use of a graphite shaft and their properties and what they can do for you. So we're going to cut this one off. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to show you the fit prior to going to glue. So give me a minute, I'll be right back. I grabbed a 7-iron, cut it down to the spec because I already did a 6. I knew I had to trim off about 1.5 inches. And if you can see, it's really not, let me get really there for you. There you go. You can see I didn't take off a whole lot, you know, from here. That's just the ion plating right there, and I just coned it ever so slightly. All right, and so we put this on. Voila, right to that spot. So now you say, Jim, well, how do I know? So I get it off there. See, I like that tight fit. So how do I know that that's enough? Well, we grab this. You can use a drill bit and small enough to get down to the bottom. So that's my length. And I gotta get it down just a little bit more, which I'm going to use when I tamp it down in there. All right, so I'm off about a little less than 1/16 of an inch. Now I know that, and I'm going to make this thing. When I do that, I'm going to pound it in there, and I'm going to get that 1/16 of an inch in there. You can now. The other giveaway when you guys do this, and you see when I just put it in there, there's a discolor. If you look, there's like a discoloration. And you can see where it was hitting was in there. So the easier way to do this would be just to remove just a tiny bit more and get it to go in there. So let's try that. Alrighty, so here we go. I just took off just ever so slightly. I barely touched it, but it should be enough. And voila, there it is. I'm all the way in, I got it. So that's what we're gonna do for all 6 or 7 of these clubs that I have. We're gonna do we've already done the spine, the flow. We're going to do the frequency matching now. We're going to put them smack dab in the middle of the R-Flex range for Ken in Idaho. So when you come back, we'll show you what we did. And because, I don't know if you can, you look in there. Oh, there you go. I think you can. See that shoulder that's down in the bottom in there? So this thing's got a shoulder, so we need a ferrule with a collar. Now these are unusually long, and those are proprietary type ferrules. I don't know anybody that makes one like that. So we're going to go with a regular collared ferrule, about 3/4 inch, to kind of give it that old school nice look since they're a compact blade. And when we're all done, I'll show you how they turned out. Welcome back to mcgolf. Second day of the Ping i210 build, where we did some reshafting of this really nice iron. And it is the Memorial Day weekend, and I would like for everybody that has a chance to watch this, is if you have a veteran or know of a veteran, please keep them in your thoughts for this weekend as we remember those who paid the ultimate price for us to be able to do things like this. As an ex-Navy submariner in the nuclear field, I'm proud of what I did, and thank you for all your service for those who are watching that did serve as well. Now, back to let's do a reshaft, right? All right, so we took out the AWTs, which is ascending weight technology from Nippon, which is a very nice shaft. It just wasn't working for our friend in Idaho, and we went with the Recoil ZT9. All right, the Recoil ZT9 in the F3, which is the regular flex, would be kind of regular flex. When we finish this build, all the flexes are dead solid in the middle of the regular range, as far as my chart would say. So it did pretty good, right? We used the pure grips. All right, these are the pro grips. Titanium, I think it's a titanium or a gray. I think it really matches up well with the ion plating on the shaft. Went with a black collared ferrule because basically we had to, and we cleaned up the club head just a little bit to make it look nice. Hit all the marks for you. However, the swing weight's a little light. What I've been finding out is when we go a little bit lighter in shaft, it gives the feel of being heavier. It's a phenomenon I haven't quite fully figured out yet. I didn't quite hit the mark. I'm off by a few swing weight points, not a bunch. It was not like you want a D4 and I got you a C4. It's nothing like that. It's just a couple. I don't think it'll be too terrible for you, specifically if you're smoother, that you'll probably like this better. Okay, so I'll get that out in front. Yeah, I didn't quite hit my mark on the swing weight, but everything else is dead solid perfect. Had to look up the specs. You had to go to the website. For those guys that are always looking, hey, what do we do? All you have to do is Google it, right? That's the new thing, Googling it. Look up Ping, whatever the model is, specs. It'll show up, right? Whether it comes from Ping directly or for some other source, but it'll be out there. And that's true for every other OEM. So, what does the ZT9 do? The ZT9 is a stable tip, right? It's going to keep you're going to have this nice, smooth transition as far as being able to swing, but you're going to have the stable tip, which most people would have uncharacteristically of graphite shafts. You know, they all hit real high, they all go, you know, that direction. I don't think you're going to see that with this. This is what I would call probably, you know, the guy with the later release, right? The guy that really gets down towards the ball will really like this. I think you're going to really come through it and you're going to really like it. Ping i210s, ZT9, pure grips, reshafted, going back to Idaho. It's going to go back Tuesday because Monday's the holiday. And as always, happy Memorial Day, and let's see your scores go low.